All right, so let's take a look at how we can add in a GUI or graphic user interface to our project here. So what I'm going to do is right click and add a widget blueprint, and we'll call this, well, we can just call it heads up display for now. And let's double click into that. Now all I'm going to do is basically drag some text in here. It's not going to be too complicated, but I'm gonna anchor this to the right, okay? And then later what we're gonna be doing is we're gonna be creating a binding for that. But let's just hop back into the designer here, and for now we'll remove that binding. But eventually we're gonna take that, and we're just gonna give this actually a 0 right now. And while we're here, let's change the font size to something a little bit bigger. And we're also going to do size to content. And we're just going to save that. We'll compile it first. There you go. Okay, not too bad. So now that we got that out of the way, let's go ahead and, well, if we play it here, well, nothing happens because we basically haven't done anything to make that heads-up display actually play. In order to do that, let's go to our level blueprint. Okay, and on the event begin play, we're going to create a widget. So let's create widget here, and the class is just going to be heads up display, and there we go. So essentially, if we save this here, we're also going to add to viewport. Okay, and what we're also going to do is we're also just going to drag that in here just like that. Let's go ahead and save it, and let's play it. All right, and there you go. Perfect. And there we go. So now what we've done here is we've added on well, we basically added the heads-up display to the game. So what we need to do next is we need to basically make the HUD and that number count up every time that we destroy a ball. Well, there's a couple things that we need to do first. So first of all, we need to go into our first person blueprint, and we need to create a variable. And that variable right now will just be balls destroyed. Okay, and we're going to go ahead and make this an integer just because we want this to be a number. Okay, so for now, to test things out, I'm just going to make it 333. Okay, and the reason why I'm doing that is I want to test this out first, and this is one of the things that you should do as well. Okay, so the next thing we need to do is we need to hop in to our heads-up display here, and what we need to do is we need to go to the text here and create binding. Okay, and right now we have this get text 0 and return node. So I'm just going to deselect that and move it over. Okay, so the next thing we need to do is cast to first person character. Okay, now this is one of the ways that Unreal stores variables, and I'm going to just simply return this to the node here. Now, under this first person character, if we type in the word get balls destroyed, we're just going to simply click that in here. And I'm going to take the long way around just to show you how this works. But I'm going to drag this out and say toString. Okay, and then I'm going to drag it in here. Okay, and you can see that it has this text toString, etc. Now I'm just going to delete both those two things, and since balls destroyed is an integer, we have to convert it to a string, and it will do that for you. But I'm just showing you the long way around. Now, if we compile this, we'll get a huge error here, and it says we need to cast a first-person controller. Okay, now we're going to say get player controller. Now, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to highlight a very simple mistake that people use, and I see beginners make all the time. See, it says get player controller first person character controller character. That is not correct. It has to be the first person get player character. Okay, and then if we compile this, it'll work. Okay, so you see how that works here. Now, if we really want to, we could add in a print to screen here for the cast failed just to see if it doesn't work here. So I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to save it here. Now, what should happen at this point is if I run it, okay, you can see that it does say 333 up at the top. Okay, now let's just go back into the heads-up display here, and I'm actually going to move this down to the bottom. Yeah, I'll move it down to the bottom, bottom right here. Change the anchor as well, just because when you run it, there's something up at the top. Okay, so if we go back, okay, it says 333. Let's play the game. Nothing happens because, well, we haven't really told the it to count up yet. So let's go ahead and let's do that. So let's hop back into our heads-up display, and I happen to have my ball blueprint open. Okay, so hop in your ball blueprint, and we're gonna add an event, and this event is gonna be event destroyed. Okay, and on this event destroyed, we are going to cast to first person character. Okay, basically it's the same thing. Get player character, very simple stuff. And then as this player character we are going to set the balls destroyed. Okay, and we're going to hook that up here. Now the balls destroyed, as you can see, well, is something 0 here. So if let's just save it, and I just want to show you how this works here. So we're going to save it here, and it set it. You can see that it set it to 0. So if I play it again, it says 333, but as soon as I hit it to work here, it sets it to 0. So now that we know that it works here, and this is the methodology that I use personally when I'm making a game, I just essentially say, okay, look, does it work one step at a time? Yes, because sometimes if you go through each and every one of these steps, you might have 3 or 4 errors along the way, and then you have to go back to the beginning. So testing early and often is really important. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to we need to set the ball. We need to set the balls destroyed. So how do we do that? Well, we're going to do 2 things. We're going to first of all get these balls destroyed here, and then we're going to integer, and then we're going to add to the integer. Okay, and what are we going to add? We're just going to simply add 1. Okay, so we get the first person controller. We're going to get the balls destroyed. We're going to add 1 to it, and then we're going to set balls destroyed. Okay, get and set. And you'll notice that those variables are not here because they're in the first person character. Okay, compile and save. All right then, let's go ahead and play, and let's just take a quick look. Okay, there we go. You can see everything is counting up. So now that we have all of that working for us, let's hop back in here, go to our first person character, and let's hit the balls destroyed, and let's set it at 0. Okay, very good stuff. I like that. I like that a lot. So let's hop back into the heads up. Well, let's actually just save this first. Compile, save. All right, we're almost there, and here we go. Okay, and you can see that everything is getting set up there. Great stuff. Okay, there you go. And that is how you add the balls destroyed to the screen.